from Frame have here as well, and they're going to be sharing and people to ask questions of. So should be good. We've got about an hour booked for this meeting, so it'll be an hour from whatever time zone you are. So, and the format is we're going to do a quick round robin. So if you just prepare like a minute about who you are and what you're excited about, what you work, maybe something about what you're working on or what you're excited about with Frame, and then there's a chance really to kind of pick some topics, and then we'll probably kind of choose 2 or 3 topics to come through. And yes, Sarah, if you can only be here for 20 minutes, great to have you for 20 minutes, and hopefully we'll get, if you've got any pressing questions, we can come to those first. Okay, so that sound good. So we're going to go around the room. So if you look to if you do use your A and D buttons and look to your left and right, see who's next to you. So figure out who's on your. You need to figure out who's on your right if you're in the podium. So whoever's on your right, that as soon as they've spoken, it's your turn next. So and I'll start, and then I'll hand over to Paul, who will be the first person from the blue seating area. So that's cool. So my name's Toby Beresford. I've been a Frame user now for 5 years, or since. I've just really loved the kind of this way of meeting and the kind of the naturalness, the sort of the crazy naturalness. And I'm particularly passionate about community forming. So how and where do we use these kind of new online meeting tools to create kind of reliable, robust communities of whatever shape and form. So that's where my kind of my passion for this lies. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. I am Paul from the Frame team. I have a lot of hats here. I've done a lot of our Frame environments. I've done some UI stuff. I've done I do a lot of community outreach as well. And if you guys have any questions, join us on the Discord. I'm very active there. All right, I'll pass it on to Paul.
Hi everyone, I'm also Paul, but not from Frame. I've been using Frame for almost 2 years now. I work at King's Inter High. I taught computer science there, but I'm designing content full time. We use Frame quite a bit as one of a few VR solutions. We use this for generating social spaces for our online students. We also use it to create engaging academic experiences for our students. And basically what we're looking to do all the time is just push the limits of what we're doing so that we can offer our students the most immersive learning opportunities that we possibly can. And I'm just very excited about what lies ahead. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I also work for King's Inter High. I'm Sarah, I work with Paul in the same department. So like you said, we're involved in building content for our students, both for their learning and academic purposes, and for learning in different environments, and also using Frame as a social space. So there's lots of different ways that we have been using it, different environments, and like you said, lots of ideas for the future as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, my name is Nick. I'm from the Netherlands. I work for several universities in Europe, which are doing a special project about which almost runs everything. Everything runs in the virtual environment Frame. And I've been working with Frame now for over 3 years, 3.5, I think. And I really like it because before that I have been working 15 years on Second Life and Open Simulator, and but this is so much better for education, and so I'm very happy to be here. And my specialty is building stuff like the environment you're in now. I've built it myself, and I built for all these new projects. I built new stuff. So that's it. Next one, Steve.
Hi. Oh, no.
Oh, Sarah. Okay.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. And let's see, I taught community college in the state of California and New York for about 20 years, as well as trade schools. I left academia about 3 years ago, just finished my doctorate in media psychology. My research is primarily working with AI synthesis and research. In relationship to Frame, as well as mindfulness-based interventions in VR. Anyway, so Frame, yeah. I'm the research person for for XR Guild, not XR Guild, sorry, different role. XR Women, and I created a research library for them. And I would love to ask you how I can move it over into a different world so that I don't have to build it again. So thank you so much for doing this.
Awesome.
Steve?
Sarah, you can talk to me about that. I will be glad to help you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'll DM you my info.
Okay, Steve? We don't hear you. No.
He's frozen. Maybe we come back to him. Oh no! Oh no! He's clicking on something.
He's typing.
Could I
Okay,
present
next.
myself?
Yes?
Okay, my name is Sostino. I'm a teacher at the higher education here in Portugal. I work with future teachers and also I'm a teacher training. And I've been using Frame about 6 years from now, and I work with my students when they are creating their learning diary. They create this learning diary inside the Frame where they put all the learning activities that we'll create during the semester or during the year, and after that they could also put some learning activities that they also did with the students when they are at schools. So I use Frame mainly for education purposes, and then to make some innovation and to transform our classrooms on a more dynamic and meaningful learning stage for our students. Thank you.
Great.
Hi, I'm
Go on. Yep. Sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
Cesar.
Oh, hi. Thank you. I'm Caesar. I work for Yacarino Law Group. We're a law firm here in California. We're a panel law firm for MetLife and service. As a result of that, service clients from Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft. And the entire staff is fully integrated into the Frame environment and work there now on a daily basis.
Wow, nice.
Hmm.
Michael?
I'm Michael. I've been with the Frame team for about 2 years now. I'm with I assist with QA in Frame. I'm active with Discord, answering all your questions whenever there's support needed. And yeah, I get to see all of Frame's cool tech and experimental features and help with all the releases.
Yeah, great. Eric?
Hello, I am Eric. I also work on the Frame team, and as well as I am an educator in computer science and science and math. And I am happy to be here, and I look forward to building relationships to enhance all of our experiences.
Great. Kurt?
Hi, my name's Kurt. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah.
Good. Yeah, I've been in the metaverse for a long time. Did alt space, did VR chat, did Frame. I haven't done Frame in a while, but I always like Frame because I can do something quick and easy, do some prototyping and stuff, and get some ideas up fairly fast in the Frame environment, which I like. And I like to play around with the AI stuff that they've been doing in there. It's been pretty neat to work with that stuff. So thank you.
And Steve.
Oh, well, thank you for coming back to me.
Yes.
Well, first, I'm a bit like Kurt. I do a lot of things. I've used a lot of different platforms over the years. I was an early user of Frame back when it really first got started. I did a lot of creative work in terms of education, virtual poetry, and art and installations. I haven't been particularly active lately, uh, but I'm working with other groups and other platforms, continuing my work with art. And at some point, I suppose most people don't remember any of. In fact, how many people here have saw any of my early demos?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, me.
1, 2 of
Yep,
12.
yep.
All right. Well, at some point, I may dust off that old work. It's a little challenging to display because when I got my start, I had a 25 space world, and then it became a 10 or 15 space, and now it's down to 8. So the frames development has hindered me a little bit. But yeah, at some point, if you want to see some early work, I'd be happy to share.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody again. So this is now the chance to come up with your questions, a topic you would like to discuss. If you either want to just throw it into the chat or you just want to say it out loud, just go for it. But this is the point where we just kind of figure out what people would like to talk about today.
Is it okay if I just throw it out loud?
Please do, Sarah. That's
Great.
great.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, I'll try to keep this brief. So I created a world for XR women. They now have a much larger space. We're trying to transfer the world that I built over to them. It took me many, many moons to make it. Is there a way to move it over? That would be great. And if that is not relevant for everybody else, no problem. I'll just reach out to you direct. Thanks.
That is I believe it's the cloning feature. So underneath, in your frame settings, there's a little.
Not the clone.
Okay.
So just pause there. We'll definitely talk about
sorry.
this. Yeah. So because there's a great question. I love it. So well, let's talk about it, and then Paul, yeah, you can have a think about what some of the options are for Sarah. That's good. That's definitely one we can talk about. Yep. What else? Paul, do you want to talk about actions? Oh, hang on. I'd love to know how I could users measure distance fairly and accurately. Yeah, okay, so that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, measure. So we can have a conversation about measuring things. Yeah, measuring distance. That's a good idea. I think that's interesting. Okay, we've got an escape room one as an example. What else have we got? And so just how it works is what we'll do is we'll come up with a kind of an agenda, and then if it was your question, if you want to just answer it and maybe put a bit of flesh on the question, and then we'll discuss it for about 5 minutes in each topic, and then if there's time we can carry on, but it just gives us a structure. I can see Caesar is typing, so I'll wait for you. Paul, you also talking about some action script stuff that you wanted to share, some new.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I was invited to do a talk on the action editor use in the escape rooms that I've been doing. So let me know when you'd like me to start that.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. I was actually quite interested in. Well, here we go. Oh, Caesar, who looking at looking at the pro version, we need to make sure we're able to fully brand. Currently trying to use iframe on a website. Okay. So there's a branding. That's a good one. Okay, branding. Okay, good. Okay, great. That's fabulous. Okay, so we've definitely got 5 topics there. So that's good. If anyone comes up with any others, don't feel that this is this is the limit. Feel free, but this just gives us a structure. So we've got moving spaces over, cloning and replicas. We've got measuring distance. We've got escape room, and then the action editor, and then we've got branding and pro versions. So all good topics. So I will hand over. So Sarah, do you want to just tell us again about this
Sure.
cloning question, and then
You bet.
let's see what we can do. Right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. So I use the world that is like a disco, siesta, fiesta, dance party, hoo-ha,
Okay.
the big one. I have a lot of assets in there. It's all research. It's all many, many, many PDFs and anything associated with that. I was paying for this for XR Women, but they now have a much larger space that can hold 300 people. I don't know how to get that over to what they've got. So thanks. Does that help?
Oh, so that it's just taking just
my world and giving it to them.
Yeah, that would be on our side. So I
I'll reach
feel
out.
like send me an email and Crystal and I will have you get you sorted out there.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks.
Absolutely.
And so just to ask just a follow-up question to it, just to sort of understand. So what you've created, it's quite interesting. So you've created something in Frame, and then you're kind of in that stage of saying, well, can somebody else take it on and take it into their frame? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. I created this for XR Women about 2 years ago, and just as a donation, So I bought the basic frame that holds 8 people, built it out. It's now quite developed, and I want to continue developing it because we're now extending out to chapters all over the country, and we want to start bringing that in. And I hold office hours there, blah blah.
Yeah.
So that's basically what's going on now. Now they actually have a frame that holds 300 people, and we want to try to take what I've built and move it over to that frame. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Has anybody else had that kind of question, that have found themselves in a similar situation where they've got one frame, maybe they've got lots of assets and scenes, and then they want to move those over to another, or kind of to migrate? It's kind of a migration question, isn't it? What happens when you want to migrate the work that you've done from one place to another? I'm just asking around.
No.
But if not, no, you're gone. Someone's gone.
Oh, I was just gonna say we get questions like that now and then in the Discord of like, oh well, I signed up on this, but I'd like to change my URL. And some of those questions, unfortunately, we just don't have a way of like easily saying swap URL. So some of that, and especially when people have going from one payment system to another, or to say paying for it under one email address, swapping those kinds of things. So some of those things we can get done on the back end, but we have to do some things that just aren't readily available in the UI.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, my kids play a lot of Minecraft, and we're always sort of swapping in worlds onto different servers, and there's a sort of a way that you can sort of save the whole world, and then you can re-upload it to a different server. I guess that's the same sort of question that's being asked here about Frame.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think we can, if this needs to be done enough times, then we can have a discussion internally about making some of those things possibly available. I don't want to give Dan an aneurysm here of like this thing of like, oh no, don't promise anything. I'm not promising anything.
Well, I'll just throw out that I've actually been in this situation several times now, if that helps my case. So,
okay.
Thanks so much.
Brilliant. Okay, good. That was great. It's good. That's a good conversation to have. So second one, Paul W. Tell us about your measuring distance question, and let's have a think about that.
Thanks, Toby. I would like to say, if there was a way to download all your assets from a frame world into some file that could be re-uploaded into the world again, that would be an incredibly useful feature. So if that came up on the roadmap, I don't think it would be time wasted.
Why would? Can you tell us why it would be useful? Why would it be useful for you, that particular feature? Why would you need that?
It would allow us to recreate activities in different environments. It would allow us to reuse things really quickly, where we can plan what's happening on this day in this frame, and next week it's going to be something else, but this week of term will come around again, and we might want to reuse that later, and instead of having to rebuild and replace everything, we'd be able to just upload it. I know that the solution is also just to buy many more frames, but that's not always a viable option. So it would be something like, this is live now, and I'm downloading it as a file, and it's totally offline. And then later, I'm going to re-upload it and have it live again, but maybe only in a year's time.
Okay.
But just to go back to the reason why I have the mic, so measuring things, we do all our work is for our students, and so we like to get them involved as much as possible. And for those who are not familiar with our school, all of our students are online, so these kind of social spaces and collaborative spaces are really important to them. So having them do fun activities together, some teamwork, some camaraderie, that's stuff that we really enjoy. And with our younger students, getting them to follow instructions, getting them to think about words, getting them to give instructions to others. So if we could say to someone, this is how you'll know that you've walked 10 meters, and that might just be as simple as, if you hold the walk button down for 10 seconds, you will have walked 10 meters, because speed, distance, time. So something like that, but being able, just trying to find out if anyone's got a sort of recipe, like, this is how you can work out how far you've walked, because that would alleviate the need for us to build a sort of grid into every environment, which would kind of reduce the cool factor of many of the environments.
Great question. Anyone got some creative teams? What's a creative solution for Paul? So I understand it, that you want to give the users some level of precision for where they are in the frame, and what are the ways to do that?
Yeah, and so it would be like a treasure hunt, and maybe the object that they're trying to find is hidden by distance, so they can't necessarily see it until they get close enough. So we're not trying to measure to the millimeter, approximately a meter there and thereabouts would be pretty good.
I have it's not a perfect solution, but since everything in here is still metric, when you bring stuff in, so in Blender it's all going to be 1-to-1. When you bring in an object, you have to say its original scale, otherwise there's another scaling thing that Frame does. But if your students are able to bring things in, I know sometimes you don't allow that, because then they would be able to delete stuff. Then they can bring in a cube that is 1 meter and then scale it across to give it, so it's kind of like they would be able to deduce the scale or the size of things by bringing them in and comparing them against. That's, I understand, not a perfect solution, but it's a thought.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that has some academic value as well, getting them to look at what they're seeing as the sort of the yardstick or the meter stick, and then extrapolating out and being able to work with scale. If they were taught and trained how to do that, that would be really cool. It's like, well, yeah, if you double this up, it's 2 meters, and that would just be extending the scale on that axis. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks.
Awesome.
So Dan's just said, don't support anything out of the box, but another could be importing a grid that is subdivided to 1 meter by 1 meter, but that would need to be visible, right? Okay, so you effectively impose a grid on somewhere in the space, either above or below where the avatars are walking. Okay. And this is a real world problem as well. I always think it's quite interesting to think about how it's solved in the real world. I know in hospitals there are all these lines on the floor, and it's like, if you're trying to follow the red line if you want to get to the outpatients or whatever it is. So maybe there's something in that kind of we can take, because this must be a problem in the real world as well, especially in a big place like a hospital, trying to find your way around. Okay, what else have we got? Good. Okay, Paul, how's that for your questions? Something to take away and chew on?
Yeah, thanks, Toby. I've got some stuff to go and play around with tomorrow morning, so that's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, very good.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome. So, Paul, now Paul Frame, Paul, you tell us about the escape room that we saw it posted on the Discord and so on. But we'd love to hear.
All right. And so we are really trying to push this concept of the escape rooms. The community has been so like creative in using these tools, and I'm going to highlight one of our community members who made some tutorials on this afterwards as well. But when I was tasked with making some escape room stuff for EXP, I wanted to try to push our action editor use to its limits. So let me share my screen so I can share what we're doing here. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm going to click on it so I can zoom
Yep.
in. Yeah.
All right. So you start out in this room, and it gives you a little bit of a like a rhyme here, or not a rhyme, like a suggestion here to, oh, it does rhyme, to get everything, to do all the tasks inside of this escape room. And kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about with kind of the magic of what we're doing is the toggle, because it's not inherently something that we've pushed inside of the action editor, but I'm going to just use this hint over here as a way to explain that when I click on this hint, that it's bringing up the idea, or the box here, and then when I click on it again, it goes away. This is in fact two different buttons. So if we look down here, and if I go over here to change this, then I'll change its color. And when I come back out, now I get out of Action Editor. And when I click this, now you'll see that the button changes. But it just doesn't seem like it changes because it is the exact same. And that is kind of like the foundations that I've been building on for the cool stuff that we can do inside of the action editor is kind of when it's been clicked, then it sets another thing up. So it doesn't have to necessarily set up the just one extra thing. You can use this to set up a cycle. So if we go over here to this password system, then you can see if I click on one of these buttons, now the letter is changing, and it doesn't look like this button is changing. For all the world, the button is the same button, but if we look down here and we can start to mess with some of these things, you can see that there are a ton of buttons here, and I believe in this one I picked 8 buttons. And on this frame as well, everything that is invisible is just a little bit below the floor. So that can kind of break immersion, but we hope people don't think to do this immediately. You can send these things further and further away, but it's mostly not a problem if you do it here. So this here's that same concept of, yeah, if I'm pressing this down, then everything is cycling through. And then things can get more and more interesting from there. So for example, over here with the candy found, which is the scavenger hunt portion of this. So, and it really is the puzzle that locks everything together, because these other puzzles are only opening up different sections of the map to where you can find the extra candies. And once you found all the candies, you can get to the final room. So let's find a candy over here. And if I click on that, then it lights this area up, and it's just doing a swap. Now, for every one of these swaps, I've got a gate that it's opening, and you can see the visual version of that gate. And these are all just with proximities. Is over here, and it's once you enter into this area, if you do so before you found all the candies, it'll warp you back to this zone. So if I do that real quick, and this is stuff that I also had on our LinkedIn. I showed a little bit of what was happening here, and yeah, it'll take you back to this main area until you found all the candies. And so one of the fun things about that is it's a group inventory. So now anyone in here can go in and find a candy. It tells you which candy it is. It tells you how many candies are left. And using the action editor, this is just one of the kind of cool things that we can do. And so then every other one of these puzzles builds into it. So over here, part of the riddle was that you have to talk to the pumpkins, and each one of these pumpkins, if I get out of edit mode again, each one of these pumpkins will tell us one of the words that goes into this crossword. If you don't want the hint of the crossword, then you have to figure that out yourself. So there's also skill differences. And if you don't want to figure out any of those things, then you have to figure out that there are 4 words here, and then there are 4 letters in this password. And so then to like you pick the first letter of each one of those words and you put it into here, and then that will do the same kind of thing that I was showing with the candy, where over here you can see those gates are up top as well. So if I try to walk up there, it'll do the same thing. This area is locked off. And then this is kind of a cool thing to where each one of these letters now also ties into the system, to where if, for example, because the main one of the words spells out home, now if you get exactly HOME, then it'll drop all of the sections that open up this area for you. But there's no way that any other password would take you there. And then on the other side, we have a similar thing, and it's all run through the same password system. So only the letter sets you through, and one word takes you through the one side, and one word takes you through the other side, and then you find the candies, and then it builds or it solves all of the puzzles together, and then you can go out into the main area. So I wanted to break just a little bit for questions here before I go on to more advanced topics, if we have time for that. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, that was great.
Amazing.
No, thank you.
Mm.
Paul, yes, you have a question?
This is really, really cool. I love it. It was just to see that was super cool. So we've been doing something similar, and a lot of this is what I tend to call like smoke and mirrors, with things moving underneath, and you replicating things to make them look like it's the same thing, but it's doing something different. So my one question is, how do we ensure that we keep our performance of our frame running well, because we may have like many users in at one time doing this as a team? But the other question, like with your password that you've got, which I just think is awesome, as you're doing that, is it that on your first button you have to get that one done to the correct sequence in order to load up the next one, because there's no kind of like validation where you can check what's already been done? So everything's cycling through all the time. So what happens if like the user starts on the last letter?
So because of the way that everything cycles, once it gets to the end, it just goes back again. So you're relying a lot on the fact that these already have positions to begin with, and then the every next letter or every next button only affects the next button in the sequence. And you can do this in a way to where then the last button goes back to the first button. So if I click on this, I go to E, and there's only one E in here, then it returns back to the E. So this is specifically cyclic, and I hope that answers that portion of your question.
Sort of. So I get that part, but now, so we've got the E, and we can cycle that through, and we know that we're trying to get H because we want to go down the side that we have the password for. But on the button that's got A, how do we know? So once we've got home, how does that influence the gate dropping? Is it that the last letter is now E, that's correct, that will drop the gate? Or how do you know that all 4 letters are correct? Or do you have 4 gates that are dropping?
Yes, I have 4 gates.
Okay, okay, cool.
So
So how does that
underneath,
affect the performance? There we go. Yeah, cool.
well, so the thing is that these things are really, really small objects. It's one of those things where not all draw calls are the same. Performance is something that we have to think about in a lot of different ways, but for that, I wouldn't say that gates are going to be a big problem. The particle system on here is going to be a much bigger hit than those. And if you do have performance, that actually can break the action editor issues if you don't, if things haven't loaded in properly. So I do have a lot of objects in here, but you'll notice that every one of these objects in here is specifically one of the frame asset library. And even so, you can run into performance issues if you throw in way too many objects. But you can also throw in voice zones to make sure that every one of those things is attached to the voice zone. And we can talk about performance all day long. And I have spent days where I've talked entirely about performance. But doing things on objects as well, to where when you click on them, you can make them private to zone. You can do some occlusion culling. You can, for some objects, you can get distance culling. So it's one of those things where that has to be factored into the entire scene.
That is awesome. And I imagine that the new procedural objects, which I haven't been able to play with as much yet, but will be getting into this week, can we use those with the action editor? I assume they'll be a lot less demanding on the resources.
Well, that kind of depends. They don't, so we can use them in the action, as actions, but we don't have all of their things exposed. It's not fully integrated into the action editor in that way. But it's one of those things that we're looking at when it looks like we've got some easy bandwidth of like, all right, let's add some of these things. We'll try to augment the action editor, but not everything is going to tie into every other system immediately. But that system is really, really great for like adding a ton of chairs, adding a ton of those other things. But we can assess how connected they are in the future.
Awesome.
Cool. Nick, yes.
No, I was just waving at you. That's all.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Absolutely. And if we have some extra time, I would like to go over some other things for the other escape room, which has some fairly new features. So stop me if I'm going over.
Paul, what can you just hold?
Oh,
Why can
absolutely.
you just what I suggest is because this is great. So hold your thought, and what we'll do is can we come? What I suggest we do is I want to make sure we've had time for Caesar's question. Let's do
Okay.
that, and then come back to the escape room. Is everyone happy with that? Just so I don't want to run over and run out of time. So just there was that was fantastic, by the way. Really great to see, and
Thank you.
everyone, I'm sure we're all like, wow, gosh, what an amazing the sort of amazing flexibility that you're showing in the platform that a lot of us may or not have seen before. Uh, the Caesar's question is, Caesar, do you want to come and articulate it yourself? But just kind of this kind of question around branded frames and actually getting it out of the frame and into the website as well.
Yeah, so that's correct. We're all rebranding to Metaverse Law Group, and we've also acquired another URL. It's mymetaverseoffices.com, and so we're looking to expand the use of these platforms to some of our partner law firms through the newly branded, Metaverse offices and that website as well.
And so your question is what are the opportunities for branding within Frame? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Like at the time, currently what I'm trying to do is because it looks like I can't really get around having the URL say frame unless I use like a URL shortener or something like that, which is still a possibility. So I was looking at embedding the frame into our website. So the website I have for mymetaverseoffice.com, I put a small frame in there. I embedded it in an iframe, but I'm having some technical difficulties with the scale of that. Like I'm not able to, make it fit into an entire block section of the website. It's just like a piece of it, and it looks a little weird. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it's a really good question, which is how do I what are the best ways to kind of bring Frame to an audience in a kind of a branded way? I mean, that's really what I understand that question. I mean, has anybody else? I mean, I've never tried. I feel like I tried an iframe a while ago, but it didn't work. Has anyone else tried iframes?
Yeah, I did it. It works fine.
Okay. So what
But
do
it
you do,
depends.
Nick?
Well, I just created an iframe on my own website, but I control my own website, and some websites don't really work very well with iframes. So sometimes it's difficult. But I didn't have any problems with it. I just created an HTML page with an iframe in it, and it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I've paid for the pro version before, and you get branding, you get some branding. It's quite fun. You get to put your logo on the robots if people are using the robot avatar. And I think so. I think there's definitely a lot to be said for the pro version. Certainly in terms of having a larger number of people in a frame, you need that. I've also seen although I haven't seen for a while. I don't know where, I have seen enterprise type frame uses where they've paid and they get their own URL. I think there was a Japanese one a while ago that with kind of I remember it having a kind of cherry blossom and stuff like that. So it's definitely possible as you kind of it depend. I think my understanding is that Frame will offer those different options. Caesar, it's just a question of how much you're willing to spend in terms of getting the kind of the level of branding you want.
Well, I'm happy to explore that, definitely.
Mm. Well, so I don't know, Paul, who's the right person to sort of connect with Caesar from Frame?
I hate to put you on blast, Dan, but Dan's the one who knows the most about this.
Dan.
Sorry, what was it? Was this about the iframe?
Yeah, the embedding, making sure that that looks perfect.
Okay, yeah, there are just a couple of parameters that I think need to be added to. I don't know about making it look perfect, but as far as just ensuring that it works, there are a couple parameters that need to be added to ensure that the mic and I think camera features work. Other than that, it should be hopefully be pretty straightforward.
Oh, that's interesting. And so I think actually there's 2 points. So that's one that's really interesting about. I mean, I didn't know about the iframe embed code. Would love to hear what you'd recommend. But also who at Frame. So I think Caesar's obviously setting up his metaverse law firm and would put, it sounds like he would they'd love to know, speak to somebody about, what are the what options does Frame give for a kind of a more branded experience? Who does he contact within Frame?
Yeah,
The Frame team?
absolutely.
Yep.
I can Caesar, feel free to set up another meeting with me, and we can walk you through that process. But yeah, and I would say for anyone, feel free to reach out to the Frame team, and you will get connected with the right person.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Paul.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you. Great. Well, that is excellent. So Paul, I know I cut you off. So you've got your time back. Show us more about your amazing escape room. I'm really enjoying it.
Fantastic. So I wanted to show off. We got another type of interaction in the action editor this update, and that type of interaction is bounding box. So before, you got a single point that radiated out, and based off of the distance from that point, it would set you into one position. You would able to set off an action. But now, if I turn on my edit mode, you can see these things. The action is bounding box as opposed to distance. So if I add trigger bounding box, then it will hit once you hit that bounding box, and it can scale out. So the precision that's allowed here, I have a little word puzzle on the ground, and you can turn this into whatever puzzle you want. But it goes, and if you figured out the puzzle, then it allows you to do this at that level of precision. So you can see that, like, I need to go around this area here, and even the puzzle allows so that it can be short enough to where you don't skip over from here to here. But if you try, even though they're quite close to each other, it still sets you back. So that, I think, is a really, really powerful thing. Allows for a lot of flexibility, and I'm absolutely here for it. And seeing what kind of other cool things can be done with that. And then I was going through a lot of different puzzles, and seeing what kind of these puzzles, what of these puzzles can be created in Frame using the action editor tools that we already have. And one of them is using that same toggle, I made a cipher wheel. So with cipher wheel, it starts out to where everything is lined up to where, for example, here, A is A. And then you get to pick another thing. So for example, here, if A equals Z, then the original text will be on the top. And then you can change those letters to where now anytime you would have a B in the original text, that would be an A. Or every time you have a C in the original text, that's a B. So this isn't looking for variables. It's not looking for anything else to be strung together. It's just a visual representation of this thing, and it allows for some more fun Frame interaction. Now, once again, the button down here is constantly being replaced, so that's like the same as before. But what this one does differently is that this action over, or this wheel itself, is only one wheel. Instead of switching the wheel each time, the wheel is now set up in a system of NLA animations. And once you animate that in Blender to where you say, okay, each one of these animations, first it starts off, or it goes from A, moving from ZA to AA, moving to B, moving to C. Each one of these has a 13-degree rotation, and then you can string those together to where every time you hit the button, there is an animation. It's not just click, click, click. And I thought that was very, very fun. I did a similar thing with another one of our puzzles in this room, to where if you go over to the end, or one of the back rooms over here, you find this. Oh, I need to hit reset on this, but usually this you'd only see the thing in the back, and then once you find it somewhere else, then it appears here, and then once it appears over here, and then you click on it, it reveals various different letters. So 5, 0, 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and these are like, I was looking up ciphers and puzzles and stuff for like tabletop RPGs. Like, what kind of puzzles do they put in a session for some of these escape rooms? It's a really great resource, and saying like, all right, what kind of low tech things can we do? And this is the same system, to where over here you've got different rotations, and then each one of those things just plays the next rotation in the thing, and then it cycles through. And so then on the last thing I want to talk about is definitely the most advanced, because it kind of relies on thinking about things in more of a kind of an exploit way, to where with this, I have a treasure chest that is closed, and if I click on one button, or if I click on any combination of these buttons that is not the correct combination, then the treasure chest remains closed. But now you'll see, if I click on all three of the buttons, now all three of these in a sense equals true, and now this treasure chest has opened. And I wanted to show off what that means, and that is using the same action editor, where it's the bounding box of the collision object. Each one of these triggers relates to one aspect of that bounding box, and so the first one is position, the second one is rotation, and the third one is scale. And now I'm going to show off this kind of in Blender, to show a little bit more of what's happening. Is that all three of those things have to be true in order for that bounding box to reach you. So the box itself starts off with the wrong scale. So it starts off with, in that way, offsets, to where it's like 0.1 scale, because Frame won't let you scale smaller than that. And then, so if scale is correct and the position is correct, you do not get, it doesn't trigger. And if rotation is correct, but scale is not, and like any three of those things, or any two of those things, will not set it off. It must be all three. But this is another opportunity as well to do what I call daisy chaining this, to where if you have more of these things, to where you say, okay, now the trigger has reached you, then that aspect, that will this one will be the position in the next chain, to where position, rotation, scale affecting this box, to where you can have any number of things that need to be done before this trigger box will hit you, and it'll play the animation to say you win. It'll bring up the box to say you win. So one of the things that I was thinking of with this concept was the idea that this can be used in not only escape rooms, but it can be used as animations for teaching machinery, teaching any number of asymmetrical concepts that all have to come together. So I was really happy. I know it was an exploit. I've shown my coworkers this workflow, and I think for what we have right now, and with what we can do, I'm really excited about this being an option.
Wow.
That's great. Paul's got a quick question. Bounding box is my new true love. Okay, and then here are, so when the chest is an animation, and the animation plays when the finally, so when the bounding box hits you, then the next
Yes, and it can. Yeah, the box itself has two animations, open and close. Right now this is on top,
Got it.
and we can hit this with a reset too. I have a reset button. But yeah, like so the box has two different features. Chest open, chest close. You have to turn them off once you import it. And then yeah, like once it hits you, you can do that. But you can also open a door. You can you can warp them to another frame if they do it. You can set off particle animations. So from anywhere that they are, it just says, okay, cool. Once this triggers you, now you know that you've won.
Very good. Very good indeed, Paul. What an amazing show. Yeah, thank you so much. I think we've all learned about Action Editor.
Fantastic.
That's really great. Does anyone have any questions for Paul? What we usually do now is just sort of because we're at time, we'll break off the formal part of the session, and then just feel free to mill around, chat with anyone else, and yeah, well, thank you. I think I will just break off because we hit time, and I like to skip to time. So thanks so much for attending FrameFest. Really appreciate it. You should get a link if you're on the email, which to just to give a kind of a score 1 to 10 on feedback. That all helps. But otherwise, we'll see you in 3 months' time here, and that'll be oh, go
The
on, Nick.
9th
What's
of
the month?
March.
What's the
The
9th of
9th.
March? 9th of
Yes.
March, same time, 9th of March, and we'd love to see you again. Bring your topics for questions, bring anything you want to show and tell. But it's great to be in a frame community and just learning from each other. And thank you, and have a happy happy December. So thank you for coming. Yeah, feel free to hang around, mill, ask questions. Let's just use the space for anything else you want to chat about. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be hanging out for just a little bit longer as well. Cool. If you've got any extra questions for me.
Everybody's clapping.
Woo!
There we go. Whoa. Woo. Good.
Oh. I have to put some audio applause in it here so I can trigger it.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. It was great.
I'm glad you liked it. This was a topic I was really, really excited to talk on, and
yeah.
See what what everyone thinks about using these tools.
Yeah, but it's because it gives you as a very good insight on how you do this with all the swapping of all the buttons and but also using the animation built in sorry, Blender.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those things where I wanted to talk on that too, but I like obviously it went over time. Of kind of showing how those animations get put in the correct way to where they're easy to manage and they're doing what you want them to do. Because you can get it to work with bone animation, but not all bone animation. So if you've got there's a lot of people bringing in GLBs where they're like, hey, this is supposed to be animating, but it was only animating the root position of something else, and the way that GLB flattens the hierarchy, that animation is still happening, but the thing that it was supposed to be parented to isn't. But all of those kinds of animations can happen. It just needs to be done correctly. And so also tying it into the nonlinear animator is the best way to get animations to carry across here.
Right. So if this rotating wheel that you've created, you use 26 buttons to have it rotated?
Yes.
Oh my God! But that's a lot. But then you should also be possible to. It could also be possible to only use the action editor and change the rotation of it, or not?
Yes, but if you use the action editor to change the rotation, then you don't get the smooth animation between.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm just thinking about your sanity, Paul. So you've got these 26 buttons, right? And those buttons, you've animated them with like the squishy. You've done that in Blender.
Yes.
So now you're bringing in the first button. You're applying the action editor actions to it, and then you simply duplicate the button and just go into each button and change the animation.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So when you do a duplication of something that already has an action editor property, all of the other action editor properties will be duplicated with it. So one of the things that I like to try to do is I try to set up all of my action editor stuff on the thing that I'm going to be duplicating, so that I'm doing as little work as possible. So if I know it has to, the button has to hide itself and it has to bring the button underneath it to that position, then I'm going and play an animation, then I want to make sure all of those are on the first button so that every time I duplicate it, it's
so the second button plays the animation as soon as it shows up.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to play around with it, but like as to when the animation plays. But especially if it's doing something in like a linear fashion, like the rotations of the puzzle piece, then to say, okay, press the button, do the animation, and then the next one will pick it up.
Right. Very interesting.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and it's just like that idea of how can I break it? Whenever I find whenever I find a new system, that's my first thought. Like, okay, what can't it do, and how can I make it do that? And that's where the other thought came in of like, okay, well, I can change the position, I can change the rotation, I can change the scale, and this is something that I was trying to break it a lot more than this, because I was trying to think of the like, okay, only change the x-axis scale, only change the y-axis scale, but our systems don't do that yet. So doing this daisy chain method works just as well. It's just a little bit of a different setup.
Right. Yeah. Well, every time Frame comes up with a new update, and I try to break it also.
Awesome. That's what we want.
Yeah. So that's why I always come up with a lot of bugs.
Yeah, and it's so great because like we specifically handle the community requests, and we try to work those into our our new updates to say like, okay, what's the highest priority, and you guys finding that it's such a big thing for us. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's a big thing for us too. It's your work.
Awesome.
If I can just clarify this bounding box, this has just blown my mind. It's been a very busy time, and I haven't had a lot of time to play with all the new features. So tomorrow is literally Christmas.
Nice.
The bounding box, that's a shape that you're bringing in and you're manipulating as its own object.
Yeah, so here I'm gonna do one in here. Is that the best way to bring it to do the bounding box is to bring in. I'm gonna share my screen and do a little bit of what I call frameception. And so if you go to the creation menu and you create a shape, it's only on the shape. So you can't do a bounding box as a from
3D
a 3D object yet. It's only from the box. Oh, I believe I have. There we go. And so then inside of the bounding box, you can also first make this hidden. So now when I go into edit mode or out of edit mode, you can't see it. So then it's very, very good for doing things like when you're escape rooms. And I think maybe Nick, maybe you were the one who had this problem, maybe it's someone else, was showing that students were breaking these systems to where they were using the double click to warp into places. And if you put this box over an entire area and say that if they warp in, it warps you out, then that's solved. So and you can fully put in anything you need into your action editor. So for example, you go over here and you go into your bounding box, and then you do all of the other actions that you have. So once an area is cleared out and they're allowed to be there, then you just warp the box away.
That's so cool. And you can't, even when the box is hidden, it's still there. So when you place your cursor over it and you shift double click, you're not clicking on the floor on the other side of it, so you can't teleport through it.
Oh, you know what? That's actually something that we could try out here, because actually I'm not sure if it counts when it's hidden, because now it's not
No, I
allowing
can't
me
do
to
it,
click
sorry.
on that. Yeah, so you can warp into that, but it will specifically warp you away, and you can put up a message that says, "Nope, you were." You
Or an audio sound.
Oh,
No.
this is so good. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time and all your sharing. This is just fantastic. I do need to go now, but thank you so much. This is awesome.
Awesome. Well,
I'll see you
it
guys
was
again
great talking to you. Thanks for coming.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Bye, Paul.
Take care.
Thank you.